My favorite thing about this would be all of the elements. You got the spillway bowl, you got the stacked slate urns, you got the vanishing edge going into the aqua block system down there. You got the pond, you got the stacked slate walls. So the uniqueness of the home.
How many favorite things?
No.
You named all of them. You said we're gonna retire here. He said as we walked in, I want to retire here.
It's a beautiful day in Aurora, Illinois. I'm with Brian Helfrich.
Hey.
My lead guy for 23 years. I'm Greg Wittstock, and this is my channel, Living the Aquascape Lifestyle. Tell me a little bit about the story here.
Well, first, it's awesome. It's very unique, but it was a renovation. So they had a pond built by another contractor a few years ago. Well, actually like 10, 15 years ago.
Wow, okay.
And we're going this way, so I'm gonna show you that one later.
Okay.
But this is the one I want you to see now. So yeah, a couple years ago, we came in and renovated the whole thing. It was an interesting project because of access. You can see this big deck that wraps around the entire thing.
So unique.
Well, and every stone had to be hand placed. We couldn't use machines or anything else because of the massive deck.
Right.
And coming up with a design that made sure we could see it from inside the house, but also from these angles on the deck was really a challenge.
I think I'm jealous. I think I want this house.
Well, the house is incredible, and look at the giant oak trees.
Oh my God.
Which is also a big obstacle. You know, so many people always say, where's the best spot for a pond? Do we put it in full shade? Do we put it in full sun? They're always concerned about all the leaves and debris that would fall off of a tree. You can't get more debris than this pond with all the acorns and oak leaves, and look at how spotless this thing is.
Look at this. Look at this. This is amazing. I love the stacked slate urns. You got a bowl in here, you got a vanishing edge in the pond, you got steps going down into there.
So the urns were the one way we could actually make it visible from the house. It was really hard for us to get a waterfall facing this way because we didn't have the real estate to build that berm and everything else. So the big urns make it visible from Fred's chair. Of course, they're all lit up, and so at night,
the lights, my gosh.
And then we did the steps for their grandchildren. So their grandchildren are able to walk down in here, play around the waterfalls, get next to the urn, and everything else.
This is a cool grandma and grandpa. You want to be a cool grandma and grandpa? Put something like this in with steps the kids to get into it.
It was just a way to hide some of the plumbing stuff down here.
Yep.
This is the pondless vault,
yep.
Right? So the whole pond comes down into a very large 1,000-gallon pondless system here. And rather than burying this thing with gravel and everything else, we just put this here. This one here are the valves that control.
When you came in here, Brian, what did it look like?
Well, can you see where the deck meets the aggregate patio over there? There was a railroad tie structure that came up and went kind of the length, and it was about 2 feet of exposed stone before you got down to the water level. It was just kind of an odd design, and all the waterfalls face this way, so nothing was visible from inside the house. And more importantly, it didn't work.
So you came in here, ripped out basically everything that was here. How did you come up with this design?
Simple things like make sure it's visible from the house. They sit down here a lot, so I wanted a waterfall that was facing this area. They also sit in that bench over there, so you can see how I've got the bowl then facing that area. So I usually just look at where are my viewing areas first, and then design around those viewing areas. And then what's nice about our rubber liner and all this stuff is it's very organic, right? So we can change and manipulate the shape of it very easy. The other thing I really wanted to do too is the one pet peeve of mine was that the water level was so low in the pond. So you can imagine what it looked like with having 2 feet of exposed stone from that area all the way to the water level.
Which is why you did the fancy
stacked slate walls, and we raised it. So we came in underneath the deck and supported, it's all hollow, right? So we supported the back side of this so we could raise the water level. I like anytime you can interact with the pond and being able to come down these stairs for the grandchildren. And you know, like anytime kids get involved with stuff, it's just fun. And so I've seen the grandchildren down here playing and walking up to the urn and putting cups underneath the waterfall and playing around with it. So I really like the stone steps.
obviously pretty cool couple, unique home, unique property, unique pond, it all fits. Fantastic work, my friend.
You want to see the other one we did on this property?
There's more. Wait, there's more. Let's go check it out. Good morning.
How are you? Marcia, this is Greg, the pond guy.
I'll give you a hug.
Great. You're the guy? The turtle guy?
I am.
Oh.
The
You wanna
turtle
come get
guy.
some turtles?
You got some painted turtles back there?
You've had
No.
tons of turtles.
You do?
Snapping.
Snapping turtles, actually. Yeah. How long have you lived here?
Since 76, my husband's
1976?
and 70 for him.
Brian wasn't even born.
I was born in 76.
So you had another contractor put a, you wanted, obviously, you like water, I'm assuming. You're kind of, unique property.
My husband loves water.
Okay.
Acorns, water,
Uh-huh.
trees.
But you weren't happy with it. It was too much maintenance. It didn't look good. That's why you brought Aquascape in, or?
Yeah. It
And-
was falling apart.
Uh-huh.
Okay, how did I hear about you?
Mike from Collegiate.
Mike from Collegiate, my
Okay.
landscaper.
Yeah, recommended Brian. And how is this water feature, this Aquascape ecosystem water feature versus the one you had?
Oh my gosh, no comparison. No
Do you have
comparison.
pictures of the old one? I know we do somewhere,
Yeah, somewhere.
but it'd be fun to
So
take a look at them.
no comparison meaning?
Well, it was a pit,
Uh-huh.
and it had a waterfall with a wooden reservoir there,
Uh-huh.
and all that is. And the waterfall went that way.
Yeah,
You
so it
didn't
went
see
away from that.
And over here was a
There's a
raised
raised
planter,
planter.
yeah. So you really had to sit on the other side, and we didn't have that deck until like 15 years ago. So it was the ground went like this. You had
Yeah.
to sit on the ground and look. Now we have something to look at everywhere we go.
And that was the one thing I saw. There's almost every little element in here that Brian has designed. How is it working with Aquascape?
Wonderful.
Yeah, that's
Good
They
answer.
don't hang up on me.
He
don't
learned
hang
from the
up.
Call
best.
me back. Call me back, right? Jenna is amazing.
You know, for a young
really
lady,
awesome.
you know, yeah, she is pretty impressive. So you have grandkids.
Oh,
They
yeah.
love coming here, I would imagine.
They
This
do. hmm
Grandma and Grandpa got a cool property,
Yep.
huh?
Yep. We're going to retire here. It's a
Yeah.
ranch.
Yeah.
And why go? We're traveling. We've traveled, but we'll be here. People can push us out. And
Yep.
we can enjoy what
And-
we have here.
and
And then
that-
he loved it so much.
This is not an inexpensive investment, but it's an investment in your lifestyle that you get to enjoy now.
Right.
I mean, this literally,
Right.
just standing here right now and hearing that sound, it changes the space.
We love it.
So what I think is so cool is, obviously you wanted to put a water feature right by the house where they live, but what's so neat is they live on this incredibly large retention pond.
Oh yeah, they've got 6 acres, right? And so they've got this
Wow.
big retention pond here, and they love coming down here every evening.
Really, they
You know,
love coming down here.
having
Imagine
some
that.
tea.
Uh-huh.
And you can see the traditional fountain, right?
Yes,
This is what
yes.
everybody does. It's because
Yes.
this is what everybody knows, right?
Yes.
They don't even know that what we can do is even a possibility.
Right.
And so this is very traditional. I call this more golf course-like.
Yes.
But our thing is to make it look as natural as possible. Now that waterfall looks like it's been there forever.
So for me, when I see a fountain in a formal fountain, that's one thing, but you have an informal, shaped water feature. A waterfalls is much more natural than a formal fountain on a informal shaped water feature.
Yeah.
So, Brian, I'm sure one of the challenges that you had here was getting these rocks to actually stay flat and level when you're in an area that would sink.
Well, it's kind of a floodplain, right?
Yeah.
There's a creek that runs on the backside of the property, and so when it raises, then of course the water level in here raises.
Yes.
We were at a high water table when we came out here. So digging through all this stuff,
Yep.
pulling out all of that slop in order to get our intake in.
Yes.
We have our pump intakes to set these rocks and all that kind of stuff, of course, is a challenge. But so you dig out, you put down a really heavy fabric,
Yep.
a geotextile fabric, and then an enormous amount of stone as a base for it, just so that stuff
Gravel.
won't, and then you work your way up. And so we had the challenging part is we were working at a high water level when we were out here, but you have to set the stone at what you predict is going to be the low water level,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
It'd be ridiculous if you saw a bunch of exposed stone and stuff and then dirt or
Yep.
mud
Yep.
underneath.
Yep. So what's neat is how you use the snorkels and centipedes for the intake.
Yeah, so right underneath this stone is actually
Yep.
There's our 2 snorkels.
Yep.
Right? There's 2 centipedes that go out. We have our aqua blocks over the top of the centipedes.
So it does gravel on top of that?
Well, we surround it with cobbles.
Yep.
Just to make sure that those centipedes don't get clogged up or anything.
Yep.
The pumps then go back up through here, push the water over there, and then the one fun thing we did for them is we added one of our booster pumps. So they like to come out here and water some of the landscape and stuff.
Yeah, so they can pull right
Yeah,
off.
so they borrow water from the lake to water some of the plants around this area.
Just spectacular. What's nice is it's a nice landing spot, right? And that sound is so beautiful.
Yeah, well, water attracts everybody, right? And so if you're going to come down and sit on that deck, you know every person in the world is going to want to get closer to this thing. And so not to have a place to sit and rest
Yes.
would be a waste, right? So
Totally.
you can picture having the Adirondack chair sitting out here, kind of looking at this, or the grandchildren fishing from this area like we talked about before.
Perfect.
This isn't even a year old, so you can imagine how much better this is going to look
When it matures.
year after year after year as it matures and more plants come in and some different varieties and stuff. I mean, I can already see the pickerel rush starting to mature down in here, and as that grows and fills in, it'll look better. I want to get them a couple water lilies for this pond.
100%. I asked about that.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool.
And then look at what we did. I don't know if you can see this, but just to the left of the waterfall, because we knew everybody was going to be drawn over to it, we put a little seating area.
Oh, yeah.
You know, just big enough for a couple of chairs over there.
It's that last 10% that makes all the difference.
It also gives the grandchildren a place to fish. So not just from this area, because there's a bunch of fish in here.
Yeah, of course.
So they fish from here, but the grandchildren want to explore like children naturally do. And so we gave them a couple fish casting rocks.
Right. Fish catcher. I want these people as my grandparents. So cool. Hey man, if you like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and follow along and see unique properties with unique water features and good guys. Great work, buddy.
You think I'm a good guy?